Hi everyone, and thanks ARC for the opportunity of presenting the BP story, and thanks SAP as well for giving me this opportunity. BP's been on this journey for a while. Let me make sure the clicker works. No, wrong button. There we go. There we go. So this is me. I've been big with BP for 20 years now, and my day job is Director of Information and Data Architecture at BP. I am an IT geek, and I suspect that most of the people in this room are not IT folks, so please bear with me. And the engineers that are here, you know, we've each got a role to play in this digitalisation agenda. And as well as my day job involves managing BP's data or coming up with approaches to manage BP's data. And we're getting more and more of that every day. And I focus a lot on analytics and big data techniques and getting all that data from the edge into the center so that we can do analysis of it. But as well, I also focus on how we can do that in a standard way rather than continuing to build bespoke integration. And that's led me to be active in a number of standards bodies. In particular, Mimosa, and I've been on the Mimosa board for a couple of years now, and Mimosa is a standards body that is really active in the interoperability space, and as you'll see, interoperability for me is the key to being successful in this space. I'm also on the International Oil and Gas Producers Information Standards Subcommittee. The IOGP doesn't want to become another standards body. What they want to do is to be an industry voice to the standards bodies. And so therefore, I think it's really important that we as owner-operators stand up and get together and say, how do we want the standards to progress? Okay, now a word about BP. These are the 2016 figures. The 2017 figures just came out, and the underlying replacement profit is up to 6 billion. So a good increase, and the price of oil is coming back, and you know, as someone who fills up my car, I hate the price of oil, gas going up, but as someone who's got BP shares, I love it. So the BP as a company is now in the energy industry. We are not an oil and gas producer solely any longer. We very much have stated that we're in the energy industry, and that we are going to be leading the way in moving the world into a low carbon future. So you'll see that BP is into wind farms, BP is into solar. We just acquired a solar manufacturing company. We've now got a large stakeholding in a rapid recharge forecourt battery recharging units, and so you'll start seeing those rapid recharging units appearing at the BP gas stations as more and more cars become electric. And underpinning all that is modernising the whole group, and this word modernise is another one of these buzzwords, and you're probably all modernising. BP's modernising, and BP is modernising. The underpinning of modernisation is digitalisation. But I did want to, and this is probably a bit of an eye test, so don't worry too much about it. I did want to make a distinction between digitization and digitalization. Every time you put a sensor out there at the edge, you are digitizing, because you're replacing an old analog sensor with a new digital sensor, and that new digital sensor is giving you all this wonderful data in a digital format. But if you don't also digitalize, which is digitalizing your end-to-end processes and putting in place processes to move that digital information into platforms that you can then utilize it, then you're really only gone, a quarter of the way. The third big term that's out there that I think is really important for all of us is digital transformation. And digital transformation is all about our businesses changing, our businesses modernizing, offering digital products to our customers. BP's just introduced the new pay by smartphone. Everyone's got one of these in their pocket now. Why should I have to get out my credit card when I pull up to the pump? In Europe, not quite here yet, you can pull up to the pump. The screen will say, "Hey, welcome, Ken. What would you like to do today?" And you click on the button, fill up, you pump your gas, and you drive off. You don't have to pull out a credit card. You don't have to go into the store. We are seeing this as part of our move into a digitalized world, integrating cell phone payment methods into the business process, being able to sense when that cell phone is actually on the forecourt. And hey, guess what? We're also popping up and saying, "Wouldn't you like a coffee with that gas?" Which has been, a lot of people have been doing that for a while, and with very little success, because you generally had to go into the store and stand in a queue and still pull out your credit card. Now you don't. You go into the store, and there sitting on the end of the counter is your coffee. You pick it up and you walk out. And it's really going to revolutionize the way our retail business operates. So there's some terminology. Let me come to a diagram now that's a bit different to the one Greg used, but I think you'll be able to see a very common theme here. On the left, you have all your sensors and all your edge equipment. In the middle, you've got your platforms, which your platforms are designed to collect your sensor information and take all that digital information and start driving digitalization processes. And on the right, you've got your traditional enterprise tier. Those enterprise applications are not going to go away. We still need to do plant maintenance. We still need to do material management. The old applications, we might move them out to a cloud platform, but they're still going to be an integral part of the landscape. It's that middle section. I don't know how to make the pointer work, but the middle section labelled platform tier that is new and is key to really driving value out of the new Internet of Things. Now, let me go back to this one second, if it will go backwards. Will it go backwards? Yep. With this, what we find is that as an owner-operator, I need to partner with someone to deliver on this vision. And BP has partnered with a number of players, but in particular in this space, SAP, we've partnered with SAP, and they have a product in that platform tier called AIN, which is their Asset Intelligence Network. And we're actively working with them to help us deliver on this vision. Now, let's move on to the real world, and this is where it starts getting a little complicated. When you look at the real world, BP isn't a company in isolation. We can't just focus internally. We have to start looking at our partners, and we have to start looking at the ecosystem of people that we interact with. And we want to be a really smart business. We need to work with our partners to digitalize the entire ecosystem. So to me, that is where you really start driving real value. When we can interact with our EPCs in a digital way so that we can get information from the EPC out of their design tools digitally. Okay, we might still get that document, but we also want to get the data so that it can automatically populate our plant maintenance system and all our other operational systems. So we're looking at how you can digitalize that. And the same with the device manufacturers, the OEMs, that we want to bring them into this ecosystem as well and interact with them in a digital way. So in this space, we've been working closely with Bentley and the Bentley design tool, and in the manufacturing space, we're partnered up with Yokogawa to do a proof of concept in that space. Now, all this looks very complicated, and you say, how can you possibly scale this? You don't have just one EPC that you deal with. You don't have just one equipment manufacturer that you deal with. In fact, we've probably got thousands of equipment manufacturers that we need to deal with. And the trick is a standard interoperability architecture. The key to digitalization of an ecosystem is open standard interoperability. If I have to talk to every single manufacturer and build a point-to-point integration with that manufacturer, I'm never going to get there. If I can say BP is supporting the open industrial interoperability ecosystem, and they know exactly what that means, and they support it, then we can interact with them directly. So this diagram is a diagram that was put together by a number of different standards bodies, right? This is not just one standard. It is not just one standards body. Mimosa took a leading role in it, but POSC, Fiatec, the Dutch organisation USPI and OPC were all involved in putting together this architecture. And what I put the architecture up so that you can get a feel for how it works. Down the bottom you have your automation systems, and up the top you've got your enterprise systems, and in the middle you have your open interoperability bus. And just to summarize it, interoperability is about moving that information backwards and forwards between those environments. Now, that's nice theory, but let's look at what we've really been able to do to date. And we've crunched it down to a small number of players so that we can make some progress on this. And what we have done is we've worked with Bentley to get some of their design information, equipment design information and segment information into the Asset Intelligence Network. And we're working to get with SAP to get that data from there into the plant maintenance system. And so the Asset Intelligence Network, that platform, becomes the hub in interoperability. But coming back to my scalability point, we don't want to do that using direct point-to-points. What we want to do, and that's this little green bubble here, we want to do that using open interoperability standards. So Bentley and SAP and Yokogawa all support that standard, and so that interchange is using those standard protocols. That means once we've proven this and we've got it working, then we can go out to all our other manufacturers and say, hey, if you support this standard, then you can interact with SAP's AIN because, hey, that's the one BP chose. But not only that, you can interact with GE's Predix or whatever other platform you happen to choose because they also support the platform, support the interoperability. So by using open standards and in the interoperability space, it gives you as an owner-operator, or you as a manufacturer, or you as a software vendor, the opportunity to expand your market by using open standards. So that was the vision. This is the reality. We actually have built screens. We actually have transferred data between Bentley and the AIN solution today. That's there. We're looking at how we move it from a proof of concept to a production solution, and we're looking to expand that solution out to include Yokogawa and other sensor information. I won't go into this. Here's another, you can tell I'm an IT techie. I'm an IT architect. Here's another architectural diagram, and I don't want to go into this in a lot of detail, but just to point out the key to this is the box on the lower right. That is your interoperability box. You've got a chosen platform that is vendor specific, chosen ERP systems that are vendor specific, but the key takeaway here is it's that box on the lower right that then allows you to do standard interoperability and to become vendor neutral. So this isn't just about SAP AIN. This is about getting in place a solution that allows you maximum flexibility and allows you to evolve these things over time. Okay, this slide just shows the timeline. We've been working on this for a while. There's still a lot of work to do. We do need to continue to drive the standards. I mean, this space is so complex that there is always more work to do on the standards. My focus, though, is all around adoption. We've been working on the standards for, Alan will tell me, 15 years or more now. So the standards actually have got a pretty good head start. What we need to do now is really focus on adoption and start driving these into driving value for our companies. And this brings me to a statement of our overall objectives. We have actually set up an interoperability program that is designed to deliver integrity of asset information. So breaking it down to the fundamental level, what you really, the immediate value is to be able to exchange information. The underlying value is it drives up the integrity of that information. Every time you have a human in the process, that reduces your information integrity. So if we can get fully digitalized interoperability working, then that will really help us drive up the integrity of the solution. We have put our weight behind the open interoperability ecosystem standard. We did an extensive research of all the standards that were out there. This one was very attractive in that it was comprehensive and well thought through and really soundly based on real standards. So we put our weight behind that, and then there is a recognition that you can't just, these things don't just happen, you can't just throw them into production. So we're actually actively working with Mimosa on their OGI pilot to pilot these solutions. And I've got one last slide that I wanted to bring up, and that is to say the message I'm trying to get across is that the power of application IoT platforms is realized through open digital business ecosystem interoperability. So the vision of IoT and the digital transformation of our companies through the use of IoT is going to be enabled through open ecosystems. And so that's, I would encourage everyone to look at their programs and invite you to join us in this journey. Thank you.